In this video, I'm transforming this random room in my house into my dream videography, film studio, and editing suite. We're gonna go through everything from the actual technical stuff required to create a really cool editing suite, including installing all of the lights and the computer and creating a full network attached storage system that I can edit off of anytime. I can store all my files. We'll do that step by step from scratch. And we're also gonna make a bunch of aesthetic upgrades to just make the vibe of the room look really cool. So if you wanna upgrade your office space and your editing setup, then this is the video for you. Stick around and let's get to it. What's going on? My name's Peter Sarellas. I'm a freelance videographer and video editor from Toronto, Canada, and I've not been freelance for too long. If you aren't too familiar with the channel, maybe this is one of your first videos watching me. I only went full-time freelance about a month and a half ago, and ever since I made the transition from a full-time job in sports videography to being a freelance sports video producer, I have been the busiest I have ever been in my entire career. It has been absolutely insane all of November, all of October. And kind of at the same time as all of that, I moved from Ottawa back to Toronto, my hometown. And I just haven't had time to do anything. I'm sitting in my office right now, or what's supposed to be my new office, and it's a disaster. I haven't had time to set anything up. I've been working at the dining room table, just doing project after project for weeks on end, and this office is so intimidating for me. So in this video, I am going to build my finally dedicated room and kind of dream video production studio where I can run my business as a full-time freelance video producer and kind of also YouTuber, and just have a space where I can edit videos, film videos, host clients, and grab coffee, chat with people, and just have a bit of a creative oasis where I can be productive and do my work. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done to tour this room. So let's kind of do a before tour. I'll talk about what I want to do with the room, some of the things I want to add to the room, and then we'll discuss where I want this to be after. So if we come to the front door of the room, kind of where you walk in, this is what the room looks like right now. So we literally have my sit to stand desk with no table on it. All my gear is on the ground charging right now from my shoot today. And that's where everything's been charging because I've been on shoot days most days these past few weeks. Then we've got one hard case and another hard case. My gear goes back and forth kind of between these two. There's a bunch of boxes I got from Synology, and we're going to talk about that later. But in summary, I don't have any storage left, and so I'm building this big network attached storage system, 60 terabytes, access it remotely, edit off of it. I'm trying to do all of that, and I need to set that up in this office, and having that set up so I have a long-term viable storage solution to have archived and access all of my projects easily is a main goal for this office. And Synology partnered with me to send me all this stuff so I can upgrade from the 16 terabyte or 32 terabyte 2-bay system. It has two 16 terabyte drives in it that I personally bought from Synology to this new system. And part of this office tour rebuilding process is going to be us making that upgrade and me kind of learning how to set it up, because I'm not the most familiar with that stuff, but I know that it's important for me to have, and it would help my workflow a lot. And then we got my Husky, so all my film gear is stored in here mostly. And there's a basketball, a bunch of random paintings, random papers, clothes, everything is just kind of being thrown on top of this Husky. It's a disaster, so I need to figure that out. My desktop computer has been sitting in this box on the ground for weeks, so it'd be nice to also set up my desktop and be able to actually use it instead of just have it collect dust, considering how much I paid for it. Then we've got the tabletop that goes on top of my sit-to-stand legs, just leaning against the wall here. There's some goggles from a championship celebration in the locker room I filmed a few days ago. And then in the closet here, I have so much film stuff. C-stands, my easy rig, tripods, lights, backpacks, just everything that you need to have to produce videos, but you don't really know where it goes in here. And so we're not going to do everything tonight. The feeling that I have to do everything in this room all at once has been the overwhelming feeling that has honestly stopped me from doing anything in here for the past couple of weeks. So we're just gonna do what we can tonight. I would at the very least like to get the desk table on the desk and clear a little bit of floor space for myself to be able to walk around in here comfortably. If I do just that tonight, that'd be awesome. If I could also clear the top of the Husky, that'd be like amazing, but I'm not counting on it. So let's get setting up and we'll see how far we get. The first thing I had to do was clear a little bit of space in that office, but once I did, I got that live edge slab on my sit to stand legs. It was pretty heavy, so I did need some help. Shout out to my fiance for that. And then I spent the next hour or two on my back, putting drill bits into everything and cable managing every single cable. I can be a bit of a perfectionist that way, but I think it worked out really well. And finally, I proceeded to the top of the desk and setting up everything that I need to actually do my job, like my desktop computer, my monitor, cameras for YouTube, all that type of stuff. All right, the desk is mostly set up, at least like the essentials. The room's a little bit cleaner. There's still a lot more to do, including sound treating, which I'm now thinking about as I talk into this echoey abyss. But it's probably around midnight right now. I don't have my phone on me, so I don't actually know, but it feels like it's around midnight based on how tired I am. So I'm going to wrap this up. We'll get back to it tomorrow.
One eternity later.
It's been a few days now since I've been able to kind of continue working on this office. It's a mix of client work that came up and personal business I had to deal with, and honestly just a bit of procrastination. So today is the day that I'm going to get this office like actually functional and ready to work in. We're going to deal with all this garbage that I have in the corner here. I'm going to clean the top of the Husky, and I'm going to plug everything in and make sure that like everything on my desk works so that I can actually sit down, use my desktop computer, film YouTube videos, and edit projects in this room. And I have all day to do it. So if we get that done today, that's a success. I'm just gonna put my head down and work. We'll see how much I actually remember to film, but let's get to it. Okay, midday office update. This corner is a lot cleaner than it was. The top of my desk looks like normal. It's just a little charging station setup, kind of funny. This has nowhere to plug into right now. There's no plug behind this workbench, which is kind of annoying, but we're going to get that sorted. We're doing electrical fairly soon. And my desk is mostly set up. I just need to put the computer on it, but like things are slowly coming into place and there's less clutter on the floor. So that's awesome. And I feel really good about it. I need to take a quick midday break to walk the dog, and I have one client project that I have to edit today. So I'm going to try to get that done fairly quickly and then get back to this and hopefully have it in a state where it's like workable and I can start setting up my NAS from Synology. If not tonight, early tomorrow. You're in the way. This office is not done, not by a long shot. We're gonna get there. Did a lot today, don't know how much I got on camera, but it's at least in a state now where I can sit at this desk and comfortably work and do creative things, and that feels awesome. Let's open all the stuff that I need to get my new network attached storage system up and running. This is the one that I had previously. I still have it. It's not like I'm not using it anymore. It's 2 bays. There's the 2 drives. I did this one myself, but I don't remember how I did it. We're gonna go through a bit of a learning process. So I want to make ideally the 60 terabyte NAS that I'm about to build with you, my main NAS for all of my work basically. And this one is just gonna back up like all of my exports ever. Every YouTube video, every client project. Let's do this. We have the Synology DS1525 Plus. DS is for disk station. 5 bay enclosure. Upgrade from the 2 bay enclosure that I was using previously. Okay, we have our power cable, power brick, 2 Ethernet cables, many replacement screws. There's a little start here guide, which I think we will be using a lot throughout this build. And here we have it. So all your hard drives would go like into here, connect it via Ethernet, and then you can like edit off of it, store all your files and access them remotely and all that type of good stuff. Let's check out the other stuff we got sent, because you don't just need the actual bay, you need hard drives and stuff to make sure that the connection from this bay, this server, to your computer is quick for when you're editing off of it. Because the goal of this is not just to store my files, because you can just buy hard drives for that. I also want this to be something that can be accessed remotely and that I could edit off of. So you know that thing when you're editing and you have to plug in like 6 hard drives to find your footage? I don't want to do that anymore. One of my biggest things that I'm excited about with this is being able to connect to one server and access everything and not need to like rummage through hard drives to try to find what I need. Next up, we got 2 400 gigabyte SSDs. So let's get these open. We'll see where we need to slot these in. 1, I'll leave that in the plastic for now. And 2, here you go. That's what your SSDs look like without all the casing on them, I guess. And then we got this network upgrade module, which I believe is supposed to help make our connection faster to improve our editing. Lots of foam. It is just this piece, if I can get this open. 1 piece of tape left. There it is. It's just this piece right here. We'll figure out what this is all about. Now for what I would consider the fun part, let's open up some hard drives. So these are all 12 terabytes and we have one here that I'm going to open for you, but there is 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 terabyte drives going into this thing to give us a total of 60 terabytes of storage. I'm going to lose some storage because I'm going to have redundant copies of everything. The total before accounting for redundancy is 60 terabytes. And 12 of those terabytes look like this. When I say I know zero about this, I really do mean I know zero about this. Like, it's been so long since I've dealt with that. I don't even know how to put this drive into its case and actually stick it into the bay. And quite frankly, I don't want to know until I look it up. So we're going to set this aside. I'm going to do a bit of research. We're going to work on this together. And as I go through the setup process, I'm going to bring you with me and we're going to figure it out. But I'm going to do that after dinner. So I'll see you in a bit.
2 hours later.
Okay, we have gone about having an evening and I'm ready to just like sit here and work and do this. We are on the Synology product manual website for the DS 1525 Plus, which is just like this QR code. It comes in the package that we unboxed earlier, and we're just going to go through it step by step and we're going to get this thing up and running. All right, chapter 1, before you start, check package contents. This is all here. Device at a glance. We will probably be referring to this later. I should probably just download this PDF if we're being fully honest with ourselves. Let's go hardware components installation. Here we go. This requires a Phillips screwdriver and at least 1 drive. I have this multi-tool, so we're going to try to use this. If I need a real screwdriver, I can go get one. Yeah, we will not be using an automatic screwdriver. That is too risky. The system will format the drive and erase all existing data. Okay, well, that's fine. These drives are empty. I should probably have a second camera for this. All right, we've got a second camera and another light rolling for this product, and we should be good to do this thing. So what do we have here? Install drives. Remove the drive tray. Pull out the drive tray handle in the direction as shown in the image below. Okay. Load the drives in. For 3.5-inch drives, remove the fastening panels from the side drive. Our drives are 3.5 inches, which you can kind of tell because this is like the same thickness as this, whereas the 2.5-inch ones would be like a bit smaller. This kind of fits in perfectly, so we have to follow these directions. Remove the fastening panels from the sides of the drive tray. Place the drive in the drive tray, then insert the fastening panels to secure the drive in place. So you just pull. That's pretty straightforward. And now the drive goes in. We want this part right here to be here. So let's drop this in. And now the side panels go back on. Clip that in. That goes in there. With that installed, we now insert the loaded drive tray into the empty drive bay and push it back in until you hear a click when the drive tray is locked into place. Let's do that. Then you insert the hard drive tray key into the hard drive tray lock and turn the key clockwise to the I position to lock the tray handle, then remove the key. These are our keys. We insert that into here. And now that is locked. Yeah, that doesn't come out anymore, whereas this one does. Now we have to do that 4 more times. I will save you the trouble and we'll just do it. What do we have next? If you plan on creating a RAID volume, we recommend installing drives of identical size to make the best use of drive capacity. We will be creating a RAID volume. These memory modules are designed to expand the memory of your NAS. Follow the steps below to install, check, or remove a memory module. For us, it looks like we have a memory module pre-installed, so we're not going to have to do anything with adding or removing one. Here we are. Add an M.2 NVMe SSD. We have 2 of those right here. The SSD slots are located at the bottom of the NAS. Remove the 2 covers protecting the modules. You'll see 2 empty slots that are numbered as shown. All right, let's do that. There we are. All right, now we're going to remove the 2 covers. There we are. I have no nails. There we are. We got it. Hold the SSD module by the edge to avoid touching the gold connectors. Start from slot 1, insert your SSD into the empty slot. Align the small gap between the gold connectors of the SSD module with the notch in the empty slot. Insert the module into the slot. Make sure the module is properly inserted. Thank God they have lots of instruction for me because I need it. Holding it by the edges, not touching the gold connectors. Insert the module into the slot. Make sure the module is properly inserted. That makes sense. Okay. Push the lever outward. While holding the lever, push the SSD module. My fingers might be too big for this. How do I do this without touching the gold connector? I have to just drop it. This is like the most stressful thing I've ever done. Holding the lever, push down the SSD module. Let it go. Okay, that was freaking stressful. I did touch the gold part one time. That takes a bit of finessing the first time for sure. At least now I know how it works. You really gotta pull that lever like really hard back. But now I know what I'm doing. This second one here should be easy. Line it up and pull this back really hard and drop it into place. I also have fat fingers, which doesn't help this. There we go. The second one was a much easier install than the first. That just took a little trial and hopefully not too much error. Let's keep it moving. To install the network upgrade module, we have that as well right here. Shut down the NAS, disconnect all cables, remove the 2 screws from the PCIe expansion shield. So that is going to be, if we flip this right side up again on the back. Well, that's small. We need an electric screwdriver, or like not an electric screwdriver, but like one that's like for electrical parts. I have one. I'll be back. Okay, so this is good to know. If you're going to be working on your NAS, you're going to need a screwdriver kit kind of like this. It comes with like a whole bunch of little bits. Like these things are tiny and you can use them on like small electronic parts. Like if you ever need to work on a lens, which is why I initially bought this, you can get it. But it's also great for this. If you don't have something like this, I'll like link them in the description. You can go and grab them for yourself if you need it. These screws were really small and a bit finicky. I ended up trying a couple variations of a Phillips head and couldn't get it. And finally a flathead screwdriver is what got the job done for me. Maybe try that, but these screws weren't the easiest to remove. There we go. Yeah, that's why I'd recommend getting a kit that has like lots of different heads when you're working on these little electrical parts. They are so finicky. Now you just insert the module and tighten the 2 screws on to secure it. Okay, we can do that. Locked in. That is good to go. Let's see what else we have to do. Start up your Synology NAS. Use the LAN cable to connect the NAS to your switch, router, or hub. This is problematic because that's downstairs and I don't want this thing to be downstairs. I would love for it to be in the office. Connect one end of the AC power adapter to the power port of your Synology NAS. Connect one end of the AC power cord to the power outlet and then press the power button to turn it on. Your NAS is now online, detectable from a network computer. Okay, I have a bit of running around to do. I don't know how I'm going to be able to actually plug into my router from this room, but we're going to figure it out.
12 o'clock midnight.
All right, so everything's downstairs and plugged in. It should be good to go. We should be able to connect to our NAS now, like just remotely, even though I wasn't able to install it in this room because I don't actually have an Ethernet port in here or like anywhere I could plug in. I'm going to see if I can fix that. But for now, let's install our software. Please install Disk Station Manager, Synology's browser-based operating system on your DS1525 Plus. Open a web browser connected to the same network as your Synology NAS. We have done that. Go to finds.synology.com and to access Web Assistant. Okay, the status of your NAS should be not installed. Find your device and click connect. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. We are found. Let's click connect. We continue. All right, your Synology DS1525 can be set up. Let's install. We're already being prompted in Disk Station Manager to download the newest version of Disk Station Manager. So let's do that. It's going to delete all the data on these 5 drives, but that's fine. They're brand new. So continue. Please enter your product model just to like acknowledge that like I'm okay with deleting all my stuff. Delete. Now that's going to install over the course of a few minutes. The empty drives are going to be deleted, whatever. That's fine. And then we should be good to go. At this point, I'm going to follow through all the rest of the instructions. This seems pretty self-explanatory, but if there's any curveballs that kind of get thrown at me, I'll make sure to come back and update you. But besides that, I will see you tomorrow. Good morning. So I stayed up pretty late into the night last night setting things up with the NAS, and I'm in a pretty good spot. We're mostly good to go and I can access everything now. Honestly, setting it all up through Disk Station Manager, like Synology software that I was talking about, was super easy. Like, I think they know that these things are complicated and nobody knows anything about them because they really held my hand through the entire process and made it easy to understand, which was awesome for someone like me who like knows a lot about video but doesn't know about like networking and like internet hardware and stuff. Now I set my NAS up in RAID 5, which basically means that I have redundancy and I can tolerate a loss of one drive. So I have 5 drives in my bay. If one of them crashes, then I can replace it and everything will be saved because it'll all be copied back over from the other 4 drives. If 2 drives die at the same time, or if one dies and I don't replace it, then another one dies. Like, that's on me. But it gives you some level of comfort in knowing that a hard drive can fail on you and not all your stuff is gone. And in RAID 5 you just still have decently fast read speeds, which means that I can still edit off of the drive, and it should be a good mix of like security and speed. If a drive dies, my read speeds are gonna go way down anyways, so like I'll know if a drive dies, and there's also like literally light indicators on the bay that will tell me if something's wrong, and they'll tell me in the software, and I set myself up to get email notifications if a drive dies. So basically I will know if something fails. Now, as for the 2 SSDs that I had to install last night that I absolutely panicked trying to put in and was like so stressed handling, so those are my dedicated cache in the NAS. So similar to like a cache in Premiere Pro or Resolve, or like whatever video editor you use, this lets you access files quickly that have been recently available so that you can like use them with good speeds and your performance is good. So like any cache, having like a large, fast and dedicated resource where like recently accessed files can be pulled from is going to help your performance, and now I have that in my NAS, so this should help when I'm editing off of it, which is great. Very thoughtful of them to include that. Honestly, as a non-techie person, I wouldn't have even thought about my cache, so like that's great that I was able to drop that in there. Okay, now I want to show you how you can actually access your NAS remotely. So this is good for like if you're out of the house and you want to still access all of your files that are located on your server at home. So they use a software called Quick Connect with Synology. So you go to quickconnect.to/your username. In this case, my username is just my name, Peter Sarellas. We'll go to the website, and then this immediately starts to connect. I'll sign in with my username and password. I'm obviously not going to show that on the screen. And here we are. This is where you see everything. Obviously I added a custom image. Like, this is just my YouTube like wallpaper, but here you can like go to control panel and you can like manage all the settings for your server and check on the health of it. You can go to file station and like create files and upload and download files from your server to your device, no matter where you're located. Even though like I'm in the same house right now, I'm not actually connected to the server. It's downstairs and I'm up here, so I can still like put files onto it and take files off of it and store them locally, which is amazing. So that's probably what I'm going to do today, is start backing a lot of stuff up to the server so that I can kind of start building out that archive of all of my recent projects, especially since I've been freelance now full time for like a month and a half, and I've done so many projects for so many different clients in the past month or 2. And you don't even need to go through Chrome or like another internet browser to access Quick Connect. You can actually go through Finder. So if I bring up a Finder window here in Finder, let's go and connect to server, and we can connect to the name of our server. Ours is PSV_DS1525. So let's connect to that, and we'll enter our password. And now you pick which drive you want to mount. So by default, this server started with one called Home and one called Homes, which here you can see is like just 2 empty folders and then nothing. Let's just connect to Home. Okay. And now our NAS is mounted in Finder, and you can drag and drop to and from it like you would any other hard drive. Okay, now with regards to the office, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot with the server. The only other thing I want to do is I might get like a Wi-Fi pod extender that I can put in this room that has 2 Ethernet ports on it. That way I can plug everything in directly and get better speeds when I'm editing off of it. That's going to happen, but I need to order that and it's going to take some time to come. I also need to do a bit more research, candidly. I'm going to talk to some of the people at Synology to make sure that I'm optimizing this the best I can and then bring that information back to you. But in the meantime, we're going to address some other issues with this office. The one that is annoying me the most is the sound treatment or lack thereof. So we're gonna go get a carpet. That's the easiest thing you can do to start sound treating. Get a big fuzzy carpet in your room. So it's Black Friday, or coming up on Black Friday when I'm filming this. We're gonna see where there's some deals. I'm hoping I can go get something nice and cheap from IKEA, maybe get a little meal while we're out there, and start bringing this office together, not only tech wise but also just like aesthetically, so that we can get work in here and feel comfortable, look good, and sound good while we do it. So let's get to it. Okay, updates. We have lots. We have aesthetic updates and we have workflow updates. Let's start with the aesthetic stuff and then we'll get into the more technical stuff later, specifically relating to the NAS and file transfer speeds and all that type of stuff. But aesthetically, we have a carpet, which is awesome. I don't know how much better it sounds in here. I can still hear the echo. The walls are still pretty empty, but in theory, it should be better now with the carpet than it was previously. Didn't end up going to IKEA for it, so no footage of that. I did go for some other stuff, but I didn't film anything. It wasn't related to like this office or this video. But we actually got my grandma's old carpet in the living room. And then I moved the living room carpet into here. So I have like this big fluffy carpet beneath me. I can't really move the wheels on this chair anymore. Like, there's wheels in the chair, but it doesn't like go anywhere. So I'm kind of stuck here. I got to be really forceful about rolling myself in and out, but I like it. It's nice. It looks good. I'm happy that we got that done. Now, what I'm also thinking is getting wood slats, either decorative or acoustic wood slats. I've been looking at the wood veneer hub online and thinking I was going to get some wood slats from there. I also considered the Home Depot and I looked at Gick Acoustics as well. There's a few different options. So if you have any thoughts about that, let me know if you're like an expert in that or you've done it before in your house. And I'm also torn about the idea of doing decorative wood slats or acoustic, because ideally I want them to be behind me, like in my background, and like, make the set look better. You can probably tell behind me right now, the pictures that I just threw up on the wall to give me some visual interest are reflecting the lights that are in front of me because of like the plastic or glass fronting on the picture frame. So I don't love that look. I want to replace that. But if I put acoustic like wood slats behind me, then I'm not getting the full value of an acoustic panel because my voice is projecting forward into just like a plain wall. So I ideally want to put acoustic stuff in front of me, but if it's in front of me, you can't see it. So then why am I buying decorative stuff? That looks nice. I should just buy like regular acoustic panels for cheaper or make them on my own. So I don't know. I have to figure that out, but I want to do that. So maybe decorative wood slats behind me and acoustic ones in front of me. We'll see. I also just generally want to get more power in here. I've used up all the power in this room on this desk. There's currently no power outlet behind me. All the stuff that's behind me is not plugged in. At my charging station for my camera stuff isn't plugged in, and that's not something I can fix on my own. That's a contractor thing, so we need to wait a little bit on that. The other updates that I can give are technical updates. So let's talk about the NAS. The network attached storage, my Synology DS1525 Plus, is now on my desk right over there, and it is blazing fast. I needed to do a little bit of Googling and chat GPTing and just like prompting to figure out kind of what I was doing, but I ended up plugging in through the 10 gigabit Ethernet port that we installed on the back of the NAS. I plugged in an Ethernet cable straight to my Mac Studio, and then I plugged from one of the LAN ports, which previously was like downstairs, and like I had the LAN port running into my router. I plugged into like a Wi-Fi extender that I plugged in below my desk. So I have the NAS plugged into my Wi-Fi network for accessing remotely, and then plugged in directly to my Mac Studio for like quick transfers and like easy access for when I'm working on my desktop computer, so that I have like really fast speeds between my desktop and any SSDs plugged into it and my NAS, which is sitting right next to it on the desk. I needed to do a lot of searching and stuff to force the Mac Studio to basically opt for the 10 gigabit Ethernet connection at all times and not use the slower like wireless Wi-Fi connection to connect to the NAS. It was too techie for me. I got into the weeds. I understood it. We made it work. Now the Mac only ever uses the 10 gigabit Ethernet connection, and now everything's really fast. When I plugged my Mac Studio into my NAS via the 10 gigabit Ethernet port and then plugged my NAS into like the Wi-Fi extender pod that is underneath my desk, so it actually like had an Ethernet connection and could be on my desk, and just transferred files from an SSD plugged into my Mac Studio to my DS1525 Plus, I was able to transfer a 3 gigabyte video in like 2 minutes. But once I basically had it so that the Mac Studio was always using the fastest connection possible, and then I tried the same transfer, it took 5 seconds. And just now before I started recording, I transferred, what was it? I wrote these numbers down so I wouldn't forget them. I transferred 294 gigabytes of files, and not just like one file, like a folder with a bunch of video files in it, from an SSD plugged into my Mac Studio to my NAS, and it took 12 minutes. So an average write speed of like 400 megabits per second, more or less. It's fast now. I can definitely edit off of that. The files go quickly. The only downside is like this thing does kind of like create some white noise in the room when it's running, so I turned it off for this recording. And like if it's on your desk and it's running, like it clicks and like makes computer sounds and stuff. You have to be okay with that if you're gonna leave it on all the time. But it's blazing fast. You can edit off of it for sure. I was gonna turn it on and actually show you, but it's gonna start making a bunch of noise and be a pain. So I'll just tell you that I dragged footage onto my Premiere timeline and dragged a LUT onto it and started scrubbing, and it was lightning fast. So it's great for editing. The speeds are really good. I have no worries about it now that I've like forced the Mac Studio to use that fast connection. But if you're going to do this, getting that like network extension port so you can take advantage of a 10 gigabit Ethernet connection to your device is huge. And the Mac Studio's Ethernet port like natively supports that, which is great. You don't want to buy like some cheap like Ethernet to USB-C adapter type of thing off of Amazon, just plug it in and hope that it works. You need to have like an actual dedicated 10 gigabit Ethernet port that you're using on your device as well. One more thing that I wanted to say. Okay, so I initially did the wireless connection so that the NAS was plugged into like my home internet via just like a network extension pod that I got from my internet service provider. And that was fine, like it works all right. But I actually got an Eero mesh Wi-Fi network to like extend the range of all the internet in my home. And I'm plugged into that via Ethernet, and that is performing really well. So that gives me faster speeds if I want to access everything remotely as well. So I have like blazing fast, super quick transfer speeds locally on my desktop, and like fast enough wireless speeds. You can't edit off of it remotely, but like it's fast enough that you can like download a file or two off of it from like somewhere else on a different connection, and it would be okay. It's a little bit complicated when you get like into the weeds of trying to like make all the connections work, but the actual setup process was pretty simple and pretty straightforward. Like the Synology folks know what they're doing. Their software really holds your hand through everything, and like it kind of dumbs it down. It's like using Mac or Windows. Windows is more complicated, and Mac is like user friendly and easy to use. Synology is the Mac of network attached storage. So shout out to them for making it easy for me. I needed it, and the fact that I can get this thing up and running and have like a huge blazing fast server on my desk that stores all my stuff that I can work off of means that you can get it running too, because I'm not that good at this stuff. I'm so relieved that I was able to do that. But I don't think I can do anything else in this video. I kind of need tradespeople to come in here and like fix up the electrical in this office before I can go any further with like putting things on the wall or connecting more lights and really building out this set. So we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this video where I focus more on like the aesthetic upgrades. The office looks all right, but making it look really perfect, like my absolute dream workspace. And we can do that now that I have the actual desk that I need to like work at and all the technical stuff up and like functionally running. So that is going to be all for this video. It was a bit of a longer one than usual and a bit ranty, but if you liked this style, let me know in the comments and I can do more stuff like this where it kind of feels like we're just hanging out. And if you are planning on sticking around the channel, you liked what I had to offer you in this video, then subscribe, because I post videography and video editing tips and tutorial videos similar to this one on a regular basis, and I'd love to have you around for that. But that's all I got for you today. So until the next one, peace.